Tesham Balaviryamirayam
Rupena Tesham Balaviryamirayam
Udipayan Devaganam Vishnu
Upipayan Devaganam Vishnu
Devena Gendram Abodha Rupa
Dalena Nagendram Abodha Rupa Tata Surana Vishada Surena Rupena Tesham Balaviryamirayam Udipayan Devaganam Vishnu Daivena Nagendram Abodha Rupa
Tata Surana Visarushana Rupena Tesam Balaviryamirayam Udipayan Devaganam Vishnu Devena Nagendram Abodha Rupa
Udipayan Devaganam Vishnu Davena Nagendram Abodha Rupa Tata Thereafter Asuran unto the demons Avishat entered Asurena by the quality of passion Rupena in such a form Desham of them Balaviryam strength and energy Viryan increasing Udipayan encouraging Devaganam demigods Cha also Vishnu Devena by the features of goodness
Nagendram
unto the king of the serpents Vasuki Abodha Rupa by the quality of ignorance.
Translation. Thereafter, Lord Vishnu entered the demons as the quality of passion, the demigods as the quality of goodness, and Vasuki as the quality of ignorance, to encourage them and increase their various types of strength and energy.
Thereafter,
Lord Vishnu entered the demons
Lord Vishnu entered the demons
as the quality of passion,
as the quality of passion,
the demigods as the quality of goodness,
the demigods as the quality of goodness,
and Vasuki as the quality of ignorance,
and Vasuki as the quality of
to
ignorance,
encourage them
to encourage
and
them
increase their various types of strength and energy.
and increase their various types of strength and energy.
Everyone in this material world is under the different modes of material nature. There were 3 different parties in the triumph of Mandara mountain. The demigods who were in mode of goodness, the demons who were in mode of passion, and the snake Vasuki who was in mode of ignorance. Since they were all becoming tired, Vasuki so much so that he was almost going to die, Lord Vishnu, to encourage them to continue the work of traveling the ocean, entered into them according to the respective modes of nature, goodness, passion, and
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thereafter, Lord Vishnu entered the demons as the quality of passion, the demigods as the quality of goodness, and the Vasuki as the quality of ignorance, to encourage them and increase their religious strength and energy. So here, I'm just reading that Lord Purnadev has appeared to support the Lamchi Mandala. So, he was so bright exercising an island. Just and the demigods and demons saw that mountain mountain had been lifted a bit from life and encouraged to try him again. The mountain rested in the back of the great fortress, which extended for 800,000 miles of a large island. Okay, when the demigods and demons by the strength of their arms mutated mountain in the back of the extraordinary death tortoise, the tortoise accepted the ruling of the mountain as a means to scratch his body unless he felt a pleasing sensation. So, this whole pastime is so amazing that the Lord incarnates in so many forms for this churning of the ocean, you know. And it's described that Purity, when the mountain was being rotated on his back, then there's with a scratching sensation in his back. And this actually represents, according to the treatise of China, this represents the intense loving service of the devotee and how the Lord is pleased with this service of this devotee. So the Lord is very pleased by this scratching sensation, and this signifies that the Lord is very pleased when we make a lot of effort in being service to Him. And the Lord loves it when the devotees are intensely active in serving Him and trying to please Him. And in turn, the Lord protects the devotees in quality material existence. So the Lord Purna allows himself to be used as a support by the demigods and the demons. And this shows how accessible and willing the Lord is to accept our service, that he even took the form of a tortoise to accept that service. So it wasn't like the itching was a nuisance to him, it was actually a very pleasing and it brought him a lot of bliss in the service of the divinity. And in this verse it's described that the Lord entered the demons as a quality of passion, the demigods as a quality of goodness, and the Sufi as a quality of ignorance to encourage them and increase their various types of strength and energy. So all of them are different under different modes of material nature, and to help them turn the ocean, the Lord actually entered their bodies and as the mode of goodness or as the mode of passion or the mode of ignorance to help them in the process of turning the ocean, because they were getting very tired. So the Lord, trying to encourage them to increase their strength and energy, He actually had into their bodies these qualities. So we know that the demigods are mode of goodness, so the Lord increased the mode of goodness, and then the demons are the mode of passion, so increase the Vajraguna, the mode of passion in them, and the Suki is the mode of ignorance, so the Lord entered them to increase the mode of ignorance. So you can see how the Lord is actually, without the Lord there's nothing possible, even the mode of, all these different modes are not possible to actually act without the Lord's presence and mercy. And in this way the Lord is performing this amazing pastime. And as you spoke about earlier, there's so many deeper meanings to this whole pastime. As the demigods and demons churn the ocean, so this churning takes a lot of effort for us to actually deeply go into our Christian consciousness, and in this way all these things can come out, all the mantras, the criminal deep in the heart, and finally the nectar that we all people. That love of God is in the heart, but it's, we need to bring it out by devotional service. And that's how we will come to the point of eternal pure love for Krishna. And because today also I've been asked to give a talk on Lord Varaha for previously, which is tomorrow, but because we're going to be talking to Wellington and tomorrow, we're not able to talk about Lord Varaha. And so we can see how the Lord incarnates in various forms, and not just a human form, but He incarnates as a tortoise in His Kurma avatar, and He also accepts the form of Varaha, which is a boar incarnation. to save Mother Earth from the demon of action. So this is actually showing how the Lord is, he's prepared to perform all these wonderful pastimes to attract their hearts, and it's and so many benedictions just by heeding these pastimes. So the pastime of Lord Varaha is that the earth had fallen into the Garbhodak ocean, so the universe actually is half filled with the Garbhodak ocean, and Lord Vishnu, Garbhodak tradition lies in that ocean. And from his navel comes all different planetary systems. It's like a big stem. And I don't know if it's a physical stem or just a subtle stem, but anyway, the planets are all within the stem of this lotus flower. So the Earth is actually close to the Garbhodak ocean, more closer than the higher planets. So because Hiranaksha had been extracting gold from the Earth, it actually made the Earth imbalanced, so the Earth actually fell into the Garbhodak ocean. And Lord Varaha came to lift the Earth out of this ocean. So, but they're actually, and then he also had fought with Hiranaksha, and with this a single slap he killed the demon. But there's also very deep meaning to this pastime as well. And the inner meaning is that Hiranaksha, his name actually means golden eyed. Hiranya is gold and Aksha is eyes. His name actually means golden eyed. But Hiranaksha actually symbolizes real like arrogance, materialism, like trying to enjoy independently of others, his materialistic ego, to enjoy separately from Krishna. So Hiranaksha, he drags Mother Earth into the ocean, into the Garbhodak ocean, and the Mother Earth is actually representing us, our consciousness, our soul, and so it's like Hiranaksha taking Mother Earth into the deep water of material entanglement. So it's like Maya dragging us into this material ocean, this ocean of Maya, and through ignorance and material entanglement. And Lord Varaha's lifting of the earth signifies Krishna lifting the devotee out from the depths of this material misery and existence and bringing them to spiritual consciousness. So Hiranaksha is like the false ego that wants to dominate this material world, enjoy, but independently of God. And which leads to so much chaos, as we can see in this world today. You can see that all this desire to exploit the material world and for our own enjoyment is leading to so much problems in the world. So this is the Hiranaksha consciousness that we want to enjoy the material world for ourselves. And Varaha killing Hiranaksha symbolizes the Lord destroying the demonic tendencies such as lust and arrogance in his heart. So you can see that this is the Lord. The Lord is so kind that He's prepared to take on the form of a whore. It's not considered a very useful form. It's considered abominable actually in the material world. But you can see that when Lord Varaha appeared, he was actually all attractive. And very magnificent, and so we can understand that the Lord, no matter what form he takes, whether he takes the form of a tortoise, or whether he takes the form of a boar or a fish, he's all attractive, such a divinity, and he's not covered by his material energy, and he attracts the hearts of all living entities. He's always transcendental, he's not, so in any form he's beautiful. And the Lord appears, as Krishna says, he appears when Dharma increases and Dharma declines and Adharma increases. So in this case, the Lord came to restore Dharma, and the was being submerged in abnormal, and the Lord was being submerged in abnormal. And the Lord always intervenes when his devotees are in distress, and he shows that the material world is sustained by the Lord, not by human effort, but by the mercy of the Lord. The Lord is the one who actually sustaining the world. And Lord Raha dives deeply into this ocean, the Radha ocean, and it's described that this represents that the Lord is ready to descend into the darkest, most difficult circumstances to rescue his surrendered devotees. Because the Buddha is the Mother Earth and she's representing the devotee. So she's fallen into this deep, dark ocean. And no matter how deep one has fallen into the material bondage, the Lord can lift us out of it. So, like Mother Earth, she had fallen into the dark ocean, the Lord went right down to lift it out. The Lord is very kind. He's prepared to come and rescue us from whatever really bad condition we may be in, whatever difficulty we may be in. He's ready to rescue us from that. So the Lord is very kind to the devotees. So he has the ability to rescue us from so many problems, deepest, dirtiest places of material existence. The Lord is able to lift us out. So, Krishna is like the Savior who removes our falsehood and lifts us lifts us soul out of this material entanglement and distortion. So we can understand from this pastime that the Lord is prepared to help us, whatever condition we're in. He's not, he's even taken the form of a board to do that. So we can pray today that the Lord lifts us out of all these materialistic tendencies and brings our consciousness up out of this depths of material life, material existence. So any questions or comments?
When Bhagavatam Thakur explained that all the different demons represent different anarthas, so to the different incarnations of Krishna represent particular bad qualities that they've come to destroy.
Well, in this case, Hiranyaksha represents arrogance and materialistic desire to enjoy separately from God. Lord Raha is actually, it's like he's actually, the main thing is he's trying to save Mother Earth. And the killing of the demons is the second thing. So the Lord is ready to lift us out of this material world, and he's able to destroy these tendencies that we have, the demonic tendencies, arrogance, pride, ego, and so this is actually what's keeping us in this material world, these demonic qualities, have a tendency to drag us down into depths of material existence. So the Lord is helping us to uplift us. We can pray to Him to uplift our consciousness from this materialistic tendencies, demonic tendencies.
Was Hiranyaksha's actual name that he was given when he was born, or was he just called it as a nickname?
The two brothers were Hiranyaksha, which is brothers and twin brothers. I don't know why he's called Hiranyaksha. That's the meaning of his name. Hiranyaksha means gold and soft bread. So each human has specific qualities, demonic tendencies.
When Hiranyaksha took the earth down, did everybody on the earth drown?
It's not mentioned in the Bible.
Were they aware of it? Were people on the earth aware that something was going on?
But even if they were, the Lord would rescue them. the rescue Mother Earth, so the entities and
By putting, did he put his tusk underneath the earth or put it into the earth?
we lifted the earth on the tusk. So the earth is balancing over the tusk. There's a pastime where Lord Chaitanya revealed this form for Rama to so one day, Lord Chaitanya ran to the light of his house and he lifted out a jug and it was lotus and he balanced it on his nose and feels the strong spirituality. So the Lord actually finds pleasure in these pastimes, taking these forms. And it's nice false duty. So the result of healing the pastimes of Lord Radha is really, really nice. So, so the falsity of keeping the pastime of Lord Radha is the removal of sins and fears, protection, liberation and knowledge, removal of debts, spiritual advancement and prosperity.
Yeah.
So, chanting the prayers to Lord Radha and meditating on his form helps and cleanses all sinful reactions and removes all fears. And protection, the pastime guarantees protection from dangers, including those caused by wicked people or dark forces, as their actions kill to protect the earth. So, it removes sins and fears by chanting the prayers to Lord Radha, meditating on his form. And also, this pastime helps, gives us protection from dangers, including wicked people or dark forces. And also, it advances liberation and knowledge. It brings knowledge, wisdom, and liberation. The restitution of Radha's spiritual household. And it also removes debts. So it's believed without removing material, spiritual, and financial debts. Also, it's for spiritual advancement. The pastime, particularly prayers by the inhabitants of Jambudvip, is those devotional service to the Lord enhances one's understanding of Vedic truths. And also, it grants prosperity and stability in life. So we get lots of blessings just by healing this pastime of Lord Rama. And also, Purmadi is described that Purmadi helps us to bring the stability in consciousness. So we can take care of both Purmadi and Rama for stability in life. And so there's so many, and also that it's described that if we hear this pastime of Lord Rama, then the Lord is very pleased. So this is actually the main reason it pleases the Lord very much by hearing this pastime, for us to hear these pastimes, to recite these pastimes, and we can meditate on how wonderful the Lord is that He's prepared to take all these wonderful forms to help give us all these amazing blessings. Just by hearing this pastime, we get so much blessings. So you can see how the Lord is prepared to take all these forms, which ordinarily one would not want to take such a form, but the Lord takes on these forms as transcendental forms to perform these amazing pastimes. And gives so much pleasure to the Lord and the devotees.
We had that there's two incarnations of Radha, a red one and a white one, so did they both do the same thing?
One of the Radha graves is white and one is reddish. One of them actually lifts the earth and one kills very much interesting. So saying that, so the two different incarnations of the Sweta Varaha, which is the white boar, and the Bhakta Varaha, which is the red boar. And the Sweta Varaha is the white one, which appeared in the Swineherd Manu, and the red one appeared in Chakshisha Manu, two different Manus. And the form that the white boar is the one that in the very beginning of creation, the Lord lifts the earth and the Bhagavatam ocean. And the red boar is the one that when slaves in their action is hidden in the earth. So there's different appearances and different mandataras. So that the earlier one is the white one and the later one is the red one. And both incarnations represent Vishnu's restoring cosmic balance and saving the earth from the Bhagavatam. But one's actually more to save the earth, to lift the earth, and the other one is more to kill the demon here actually. So, but in the Bhagavatam, it's like amalgamated to one pastime. So, but there are two different incarnations. Just like there's two incarnations, Krishna incarnation as well. So different avatars, different ways of mind, a lot of times with slightly different forms, the same personality. And also Lord Viraha is described, he's got different, his features represent different sacrificial ritual, when there's a yajna, then there's different parts of the Lord's form of Viraha, they represent different things at different times.
It describes as that whenever the Lord comes, Radharani also accompanies him. So as Parasham, she accompanied him as the axe, and as Lord Singdev, she accompanied him as his nails. So do you know what she accompanied him as?
I'm sure. But this is according to the Puranas, then the different features of Lord Viraha represent different things in the Yajna. So his body and the physical structure represents the altar of sacrifice, and his hair is a sacrificial grass, which is dyed or Krishna's. His eyes represent the day and night. His nostrils revelation. The joints through his ceremonial rites. His ears indicate rites both voluntary or obligatory. His tusks symbolize the sacrificial state of the Vedas. His voice or sound represents the Samaveda. His tongue represents sacred fire Agni, and his head represents the Brahmanas or the Brahman, the main priest. And it says that Lord Viraha is considered the Lord of sacrifices. And with this form representing the Supreme Being, brings about order out of chaos through ritual sacrifice. And the act of lifting the earth, breathing on his tusks, is seen as the ultimate sacrifice to protect the world. So there's all these different features of the Lord and actually indicating certain parts of Yajna. He's called the Yajna sacrifice board. Um, so, so sacrifices are actually meant to please Vishnu, meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu. So we can satisfy the Lord through so many different yajnas, especially the Sankirtan yajna. This is actually the greatest yajna in this age. So we can satisfy the Lord through chanting the holy names, chanting these wonderful pastimes. It's all transcendental. Um, so always there to purify us from our ignorance, our martyrs, our demonic qualities, and bring the divine qualities in us. So this is the Lord's always wanting to bring up the good in us, bring the divine qualities in us. So by performing these devotional activities, then the more we're following the principles strictly, the more we are deeply trying to go into our Krishna consciousness, the more these divine qualities will come out, and the demonic qualities will decrease. So these pastimes, these both pastimes, the Krishna and the Rama are there to show how these divine qualities can be built and the demonic entities can be reduced by heeding these wonderful pastimes of the Lord, how He is destroying these demonic qualities. And yeah, just by the reciting of these, we get purified. Or just a recitation. So there's a nice prayer by Jagannatha Goswami in his Dasavatar Sutra. And it's this way, it says, Vasati Dasavasukri Dharani Bhagavatna Shashi Kalampati Kalivanna Keshavadvita Sukarupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare. And he says, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord of Hari, who have assumed the form of a boar, all glory is to you. The earth which has become immersed in the Garbhadat ocean at the bottom of the universe sits fixed upon the tip of your tusk like a spot upon the line. Sits upon, so that's how it's fixed upon the tip of your tusk. The earth is in the tip of his tusk. So this is the wonderful prayer we can pray to Lord Rama. And in the Bhagavatam, it's described that the supreme joy of all sacrifices accepted in accomplishing of a boar and for the welfare of the earth and lift of the earth and the noble beauties of the universe. And it's interesting when the Lord came out, so Lord Rama comes out, Lord Rama's nostrils is a tiny little creature, and all the sages and demigods are with Lord Rama, and we can't understand what this little creature is. And as soon as it comes out of Lord Rama's nostrils, it can take a huge form of Lord Rama, and he roars such a roar, which the whole universe and the demigods can understand from how attractive the Lord is and from his roar that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. The law, first of all, wondering what is this form, but then we understand that it's the Lord taking on the form of Lord Rama. Just to kind of describe it. Manu then said, O Lord, I shall abide by your order, now please attempt to lift up the earth, which is the dwelling place for all kinds of entities, since it has fallen into the Bhagavad ocean. When Lord Brahma saw how the earth had become submerged within the water, he contemplated for a long time about how it could be lifted. When Brahma came to the conclusion that only the Supreme Lord could help in this situation, a small white boar came out from his nostril, and it was no bigger than the size of the tip of a thumb. As the astonished Brahma looked on, the boar expanded in the sky so that soon he became as large as a great elephant. Lord Brahma and his sons, such as the Kumaras, Manu, and Marichi, began to argue amongst themselves in various ways. Then, as Brahma guessed that the extraordinary being must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Varaha repeatedly roared like a great mountain to enliven his devotees and openly challenge any demons that might want to oppose his omnipotency. When the rishis residing in Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka heard the Lord's tumultuous voice, which echoed in all directions, they responded by glorifying him with the chanting of the eight things. While flying through the sky, Lord Varaha slashed his tail and scattered the cloud with his hoofs and glittering white tusks. Illuminating the sky with his glance, Lord Varaha roared once again to reply to the sages, and then he dove deep into the water. The two huge waves that were placed appeared to their arms, and the ocean cried out as if praying, O Lord, do not cut me in half, kindly give me protection. Due to having accepted the form of a hawk, the Lord searched for the earth with his sense of smell. At last, after penetrating down to the limit of the ocean with his sharp hoofs, Lord Varaha came upon the earth lying at the bottom, just as it had been in the beginning of creation. The Lord very easily placed the earth upon his tusks and lifted it out from the water. And upon seeing this wonderful act, Brahma and his son glorified him with prayers. After receiving the worship of the great sages, Lord Varaha took the earth from his hoofs and placed it in its proper position upon the water, before at last returning to his eternal home. So this, after describing the appearance of the white boar incarnation that appeared during the Swine devastation, then Maitreya next describes the red boar incarnation. And that appeared during the Chakshush devastation. So then, because Maitreya is having a conversation with Dura, so then he talks about this other form of the Lord Varaha. He gives this description of Kashyapa Diti, how they should be brought to her and Haramika should prove. And in this one it says that so then this one is this is Hiranaksha. So Hiranaksha is so arrogant because of his strength that he was looking for a fight with somebody. So he went to the demigods had already admitted defeat, so they were hiding away from Hiranaksha. So then Hiranaksha dove into the ocean to see Varuna. Says she was asking for the battle, and Varuna could understand that he just being really arrogant. So he says, oh dear one, I have given up fighting because I'm too old. You are so skilled in battle that I can see no one else but the most ancient person or Vishnu who can satisfy you. So Varuna was like, but he didn't want to fight with Varuna. He says, well, Lord Vishnu is going to fight with you. So he says, I suggest you approach him and thus become rid of your pride, the lying down dead in the battle is surrounded by carnivorous animals. So after this, then Hiranaksha departed from Varuna and he was looking for Lord Vishnu. And then he met Narada Muni, and Narada Muni told him the whereabouts of the Lord. So once again, he entered the depths of the ocean, and Hiranaksha saw the Lord in his boar incarnation, and the Lord was taking the earth upwards, keeping it in his tongues, and the demons laughing, oh, a fabulous beast, dressed in the form of a boar. So then he was actually insulting the Lord, giving so many insults, and actually gave the Lord pain it's described that the Lord is sentient. He's not like a stone. He's sentient. He feels pleasure and pain. So when we praise the Lord, he feels pleasure. And when we insult him, he feels pain. And it says, although the Lord was certainly pained to hear such abusive language, he tolerated it so that he could continue carrying the earth, which had become very frightened. So although the Lord could have retaliated, he was tolerating it because he wanted to put Mother Earth was frightened, so he wanted to save Mother Earth first. And that was the main thing. And then Lord Raha rose out of the water, her master chased him. And despite these harsh words, Lord Raha calmly placed the earth and the sun into the water, and then the power of the capacity to float. And then after that, the Lord expressed his anger for the crime. That we are indeed creatures of the jungle, and we are searching for hunting dogs like you. One who is free from entanglement of death has no fear from the loose talk, but you are indulgent, for you are bound by the laws of death. Now give up your foolish talk and attempt to kill him. One is very proud that he does not deserve a seat in an assembly if he fails to fulfill his promises. So that's why it's made her actually very angry and agitated, and his whole body began to tremble, and he was hissing like a serpent. And then he started to have a fight with the Lord, striking with his mace. You can't even imagine how much, amazing this fight was, and how powerful the blows from the maces were. And so the Lord actually wanted to have a fight, so he was playing around with the demon. But the demigods became afraid because they were thinking, the Lord is getting defeated. So then the Lord it's amazing, the Lord just gave a slap to the enemy and dropped dead, just with one slap. He didn't have to actually fight until he was fighting, because he could have just slapped him in the leg. He wanted to have a fight. The Lord actually enjoys this chivalrous fighting. So all this pastime to save Mother Earth and to kill Raja. And Sutta Goswami concludes the narration by saying that, O Brahmanas, anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure in the wonderful description of Lord Varaha's killing of Hiranyaksha is at once relieved from the results of all kinds of sinful activities, including the killing of the Brahman. So this is a great benefit of hearing this pastime. All sinful activities are destroyed, even the sin of killing the Brahman is destroyed, but hearing the pastimes are destroyed. Come free from all these sinful tendencies.
Yeah, you were mentioning something about reciting certain prayers. Prayers by who? About Rahadev? You mentioned it. Oh, the prayers from the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, all these verses are there, to help us. By just reciting these verses, that's the benefit we get.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned it was prayers from residents of a particular
Oh, there's
place.
another place where there's residents of the Jamati for praying. I think that's the fifth, is that the fifth one?
Fifth, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be residents of Jamati pray to Lord Radha. So they pray because they pray to different incarnations of the Lord. They've also prayed to Paul and Sunday, to the residents of Jamati. So different incarnations we pray. So you can do that in the first one. And also recite this Jaya songs,
No, when we hear about incarnations, One appears millions of years later, another one appears, but in this pastime, three of them appear all at the same time. Yeah. Rohini, Karma.
Oh, we're talking about-
Oh, sorry, that's the other pastime. Sorry.
Yeah, they all simultaneously appear in different incarnations. The Lord supports the Mandarin from underneath, and then he sits on top, and the 1,000 arms is holding the Mandarin on the top, so it's stable. And then, so that you can actually churn the ocean. And then when he comes out, when he leaves, comes out to get the demigods and take up even the demons. So many amazing pastimes in this, amazing incarnations in this. I'm sure there's a lot more deeper meaning to all these personalities. Grant our Srimad Bhagavatam to you.
Jai.
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 Jai. Haribo.
Hari.
I HG Jagganath Priya Devi Dasi Ki Jai.
Jai.